His team is Gyarados, Salamence, Amoonguss, Rotom, Heat, Kangaskhan, and Bisharp. So Soulsur's team, something that looks a bit more, I guess, orthodox for what the format's kind of shaped into. Xylina's team has a bunch of stuff that I really just have not seen used competitively yet. You know, most notably Lucario and Heliolisk. Heliolisk known for having a ton of different abilities, but given the Charizard on the team, you'd expect solar power on this, and we're going to get started with the battle. So out of the Pokemon you've seen, do you see any interesting strategies or whatever?
I don't know my strategy, but I actually have a question.
Sure.
What is actually up with Lucario being not used in the metagame?
I mean, I think the thing about Lucario is, as we see leading with this Lucario and Azumarill, is it's relatively frail, so it can get a super powerful hit off, but it's weak to Intimidate, it's weak to Birds, so Will-O-Wisp hits it for super hard. So it gets neutered really easily, and its speed it's not exactly the fastest Pokemon out there too. Mm-hmm. Right, so
it doesn't even get a chance to show
right,
what it has.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a questionable decision to dedicate your Mega Spot to it since you only get one.
Right.
And we see Soulsur leading with Rotom, Heat, and Kangaskhan against Azumarill and Lucario. Rotom Heat, of course, Rotom Wash's little brother, but Rotom Wash really probably one of the most, if not the most common Pokemon in VGC 2014, but Rotom Heat does have a lot of interesting options, and gives Rotom Wash for a good run of its money, because it does get access to Overheat, which is one of the most powerful moves in the game, and of course Will-O-Wisp, Thunderbolt, really everything else Rotom Wash gets except it gets Overheat, and it has a pretty nice typing. Of course it's weak to Rock too, but I've seen a lot of bulky builds of it, and Overheat's just a really good move. Kangaskhan, probably the star of the day, one of the most overused Pokemon, and for good reason too. We see the Rotom Heat switch out to Salamence. Nice play there on Soulsur's part. Double Intimidate, what will most likely be two physical sweepers. Lucario, of course, is threatening the Kangaskhan, and we see the Kangaskhan Mega Evolve. But Lucario has a pretty diverse moveset, but I think one of the best uses for it is to counter that Mega Kangaskhan. And we see a Follow Me from that Lucario, as it chooses not to Mega Evolve. Interesting play there. But Kangaskhan does choose to go for the Power Up Punch, which will do a hefty amount, as you see there. 40% around the first time, and of course around 15% the second time, so it brings Lucario down to under 50%, and it does get a +2, but Azumarill, showing it has stat boost too, goes for the Belly Drum, which boosts its attack to +6, so now it's ×3 the normal attack, and since it brings it down just to under 50%, the Citrus Berry will heal it to a bit over 50%.
Azumarill's health is naturally pretty high as well, is it not?
Yeah, it is, and Azumarill's an interesting Pokemon. It's, I think, relatively difficult to use because it's slow. But given the support here, as you see, the Lucario did have Follow Me. That's exactly what you want to support it. And Belly Drum, very nice move there. Brings the Azumarill to max attack, and that's huge. Soulsur is going to really want to take down that Azumarill right now. But the Follow Me, of course, on Lucario, able to direct any attack away, so he's going to have to play a bit carefully. But he does have a bit of breathing room since Kangaskhan is at +2 right now, and Salamence, Salamence with the Intimidate, he has the ability to switch out and bring it back in, but at this point, Intimidate's not really what you want to do against Azumarill. You'll probably just want to pick up a KO.
Well, here's a quick question for you. Upon entrance, Salamence has Intimidate, which lowers obviously the attack of both the opposing Pokemon.
Right.
But now Belly Drum was done after the fact. Does Belly Drum max?
Yep, Belly Drum does.
So it neutralizes the Intimidate that could come in? Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, it's and we see the Salamence go just for a Flamethrower. Opting not to target Azumarill, but the Lucario does go down, and you'd have to imagine Kangaskhan's going for a return here, as it does. We'll see if Azumarill can tank that. Most likely not, and it takes it out with the first hit, so Soulsur has a huge advantage right now. He's up 4-2.
Wow.
I don't think there's very much Xylina could have done there, other than maybe protect with one of his Pokemon and try to get a free switch in as the other gets knocked out, but Soulsur showing why speed is really the name of the game. Just being able to outspeed your opponent and pick up KOs like that is exactly what you need. And now Xylina sends out Charizard and the Heliolisk, and you'd have to imagine Charizard's going to Mega Evolve, since we did not see Lucario Mega Evolve. Of course, Kangaskhan is still at +2 and full HP, and that's probably one of the scariest Pokemon you can go up against in this format. Kangaskhan, relatively bulky if you look at that health stat, and just, I personally think it's one of the best Mega Pokemon right now, but we do see Charizard Y, and I think Charizard Y gives Kangaskhan a run for his money. And Salamence switches out, goes back into Rotom Heat. Salamence doesn't have much to offer at this point, and Charizard does Mega Evolve. So we'll see its ability activate here, Drought, which puts Sun up on the field for the next 5 turns. Of course, not permanent anymore. And Kangaskhan opts to go for the Sucker Punch. Onto like Helios, that will most likely be a knockout, and the first hit knocks it out.
Oh wow.
And yeah, we're gonna see, this is exactly why Mega Kangaskhan is known, it's such a pure Pokemon, and the Air Slash goes into Rotom but does negligible damage, and the battle's, at 4-1 at this point, I think Soulsur's got it locked up. Very well played by Soulsur. Nice switches, all around, and we see, a Charizard going for the Will-O-Wisp. Unorthodox move, yeah, very interesting, and Charizard, Mega Charizard Y, known for having Heat Wave, Solar Beam, and Protect as its move, so you have some leniency for the last move, and as we see here, Xylina opted to go for Will-O-Wisp. Unfortunately, it's not going to do anything for him here, now he is facing a 1-4 deficit, but we also have seen Air Slash on Charizard too, right, as the chat points out, so this is a very unorthodox Charizard Y set. And we do see Soulsur take the game with a clean 4-0 sweep. This is the winner's finals, so the winner of this will automatically advance into overall finals, and at that point they're guaranteed top 2 prizes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay,
Right.
so the winner of this is guaranteed either a 2DS or a Wii U. So there's, relative amount of pressure on the side. Of course, this tournament, Grassroots, there are no, there's no championship points on the actual circuit on stakes, but there's some pretty nice prizes, and it's exciting to see Grassroots tournaments get nice prizes, especially in Pokemon, since this is really I'd say the second biggest Grassroots tournament, probably biggest in terms of attendance that we've had, second to Apex last year, but this is there's a lot of money on the line here.
Guys, we appreciate the support a lot. We recognize that here in New York City, especially being here, denizens of the city, and gamers as well, that there's not a lot of places for people to compete. Even for the other places that are, as I already mentioned, officially rated, you still get the experience, and you actually get to put your Pokemon out there in live play. And hey, a prize like a Wii U, it doesn't hurt.
Absolutely not, and it's really exciting to see prizes like this because I think it encourages people to come out and play. And when you have even something like a Wii U, which is it's a good prize. It goes for a couple hundred, and it brings people outside their homes, and it really encourages. And the attendance today was really nice for something like it was kind of organized quickly. But I think the turnout was really amazing. I think it caught the attention of a lot of the good players around the area, and I think this is going to be definitely a really good circuit. I'm excited to see how the whole thing goes.
That's very much so appreciated. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. And looks like the second game is starting, and seeing how much Soulsur dominated that first game, Xylina is really going to have to switch it up, and he chooses to switch it up, leading with Meowstic and Garchomp this time, as Soulsur goes for the Kangaskhan and the Rotom Heat. This is an interesting matchup. Meowstic mainly because most known for its Prankster ability. Gets Prankster, gets access to Swagger, Thunder Wave, Safeguard, Charm too, so it could, if it does carry Charm, can bring Kangaskhan to -2 each turn with that priority. Garchomp, good Pokemon, of course it is weak to Rotom's Will-O-Wisp, but if it carries, say, a Rock type move, like Rock Slide or Stone Edge, it can hit it for super effective.
Now, how fast is Garchomp?
Garchomp is probably one of the fastest Pokemon in the game, so right now it's faster than the 2 Pokemon out there if it's running max speed and the others aren't. Or even if the others aren't.
But so even if Kangaskhan goes Mega K?
Yeah, Garchomp still should outspeed it.
Nice. So that Rock Slide is a potential threat after all.
Exactly. But the thing about Kangaskhan, once again, is one of the scariest things about Kangaskhan is if you don't have a real way to deal with it, it can just slowly sweep through your team. Get a Power Punch up there and just return everything. And, this is the case right now. Xylina has 2 Pokemon that aren't weak to it, but at the same time don't do very much to it. And if Xylina does, say, have Charm or Thunder Wave, it'll make the matchup a lot easier, but otherwise Kangaskhan will have a very nice time against those 2. And both players still opting to go, and Kangaskhan chooses to Mega Evolve right away. Of course, a move that makes a lot of sense. The only time it really wouldn't want to Mega Evolve is if it wants to, say, Fake Out using its Scrappy ability on a Ghost type. But we see the Meowstic go for the Fake Out first onto the Rotom, and it does negligible damage. Ooh, and Garchomp goes for the Rock Slide, as we were talking about. And it did outspeed Kangaskhan, which also opted not to Fake Out this turn. Critical hit onto the Kangaskhan, and Kangaskhan just goes for the return. And
that's that did take out the Meowstic.
Yep, it was a 1-hit KO on the Meowstic, and that was a very nice play there. And that's one of the things, when you see a Kangaskhan, you immediately think, oh, it's going to Fake Out the first turn, but he didn't choose to Fake Out here, and it worked out perfectly for him. Kangaskhan with that, with that 2-time hit return, 1-hit KO into Meowstic. And Meowstic is an annoying Pokemon to deal with. It's a Pokemon that doesn't offer much offensively, but can really, bring down your entire team with Swagger, Thunder Wave, Paralysis just everywhere. And Soulsur opting to get rid of it right away. It's a huge spread off its back, and it's going to make this it's going to make this matchup a lot easier now that he's just dealing with heavy offense. And he goes up 4-3 right away.
So we already see, guys, that the Charizard came out last time. We already know the type it's going to make evolve into if it so chooses to do so. With that Air Slash, Garchomp, Rock Slide, pretty fast Pokemon, correct? Let's see where this goes.
Right, and once again, you saw that Rock Slide only did around 70 health damage to Rotom, so Rotom will most likely be able to take another Rock Slide. But of course, Soulsur declaring that he's misclicked this turn. We'll see how this turn plays out, but... Oh, okay. And so these guys have played in pools already, so Soulsur's familiar with Xylina's team in both ways. And we see the Kangaskhan switch into the Salamence to get the Intimidate off. Very nice play there. Now Soulsur will be able to switch back the Kangaskhan and fake out again. And the Charizard does go for the Mega Evolution. Rotom Heat, possibly one of the best counters to Charizard. Charizard does go for the Will-O-Wisp, so that's a nice switch on Soulsur's part. So that what was initially intended for the Kangaskhan, it now hits the Salamence, which is a special sleeper. Garchomp does go for the Swords Dance there, bringing it to +2, and Rotom goes for the Thunderbolt onto the Garchomp, and that must be the misclick there. Unfortunate play, but at the same time, Soulsur is still looking alright. Of course, you'd have to imagine if he, say, hit the Charizard there or hit a Will-O-Wisp onto Garchomp, it would have been a lot more beneficial, but it's fine. And one of the things about the game is not getting flustered when plays like that happen. Mistakes happen, misclicks happen. You just kind of have to suck it up and play along with it.
Absolutely.
And to anyone wondering, I'm sure that Soulsur said it was a misclick, so that was not intended. In case you were wondering if it was a super ballsy prediction or not. We now do see a +1 Garchomp, which is actually really threatening, and a Mega Charizard Y. Garchomp has the ability to either Dragon Claw the Salamence or even go for a Rock Slide, which does hit both for super effective damage. Of course, a +1 Rock Slide will not take out a Salamence, and Salamence might be able to just hit the Garchomp back with a move such as Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor, might hit KO it. And Salamence actually opts to switch back out into Amoonguss. Amoonguss, one of the that was unfortunate.
That is very.
That would have been a huge hit. Rock Slide goes onto the Rotom and the Amoonguss, and Rotom, survives with just 2 HP. And with that Citrus Berry, will heal back up, and most likely will go for a Thunderbolt, which it does, onto the Charizard. Imagine Charizard will hang on with just a bit, as it does as well. Air Slash on Amoonguss is very unfortunate, though. It was a nice play on Xylina's part, but did not pay off. Air Slash, of course, does not have 100% accuracy.
Everyone's on the Citrus Rotom gravy train.
Thank you, Trista. Citrus Rotom. Citrus Berry, of course, probably the best berry on Rotom. I actually used it at the World Championships this past summer. Rotom, of course, does have a bunch of different options. You could use Choice Specs, which is a more offensive version. And we do see Amoonguss go for the Protect this turn, which will block it from all incoming attacks. And Charizard Y goes for the Heat Wave, and that should take out the Rotom. If not, I'd imagine Garchomp's Rock Slide will this turn. And Soulsur basically sacks this Rotom Heat here to get a free switch in the following turn, as Garchomp does go for a Rock Slide. And Amoonguss slowly healing back with that Black Slide. You have to imagine with that Air Slash it would have been brought down to a bit under 50%, but now given how much it's healed, it's really, it's looking really threatening now. And Kangaskhan comes back out, and Kangaskhan with the ability to fake out, very threatening. And it's really tough on Xylina's part right now because he's going up against 2 Pokemon he can't really easily deal with, and neither of his Pokemon. The Charizard obviously wants to go for a Heat Wave or a Fire Attack onto the Amoonguss, but Kangaskhan with Sucker Punch can easily just knock it out before he even gets the move. And obviously, right now, ideally, you'd have Garchomp spam Earthquake, but there are a couple of mind games here. Do you fake out the Garchomp and Spore it? Do you just fake out the Charizard and Spore the Garchomp, knowing that Amoonguss can definitely take a +1 Earthquake? But Kangaskhan goes for the fake out, and it does target the Charizard, meaning Charizard will go down. Charizard not opting to protect, but we see the Garchomp back out, and Garchomp will most definitely go for an Earthquake here. And I'm going to say both of them are going to be able to survive it by a bit, and they do. And that's one of the things about Garchomp. Garchomp is such a good Pokemon in this format, but the thing is, it barely gets any one-hit KOs. Even a Dragon Claw from Garchomp onto other Dragon types, such as Salamence or Noivern, are often not KOs, because Garchomp, you want to invest max speed in it, because it is known for being so speedy. We see Heliolisk now coming back out, and Heliolisk, a really interesting Pokemon, one that I actually personally don't know very much about, but known for its speed, and not used very much because it's very, very fair. As we saw in the last game, Kangaskhan was able to one-hit KO with the Sucker Punch. And now with that Garchomp asleep, it's basically Heliolisk against the world. Of course, Amoonguss does have Rage Powder as well, so Kangaskhan will most likely be able to get a free attack off this turn, unless the Heliolisk has something like Discharge. But even so, Kangaskhan does have Sucker Punch, which does a hefty amount, most likely even a KO onto that Heliolisk. So Soulsur, of course, looking in the driver's seat right now. And he's just been playing really well so far. We do see the Sucker Punch just go off onto the Heliolisk. See how much it does. Will it be able to survive? Ooh, it does, with just a sliver. We see a Dark Pulse go on from Heliolisk, a really cute animation, as it KOs the Kangaskhan. But you have to imagine a Spore will come from Amoonguss onto Helios this turn. And actually, with the Life Orb, it's knocked out right away. So the game is now a sleeping Garchomp against Amoonguss, Salamence. And at this point, you have to imagine Salamence is going to come out, get the Intimidate off, and Soulsur's really pretty much got this wrapped up. In VGC, the Pokemon number is never that big of a factor. You can easily come back from a 2-4 deficit. But in this case, when it's 1-3, as it is right now, it's really... Oh, 2-1, excuse me. It's pretty difficult, especially with that Intimidate going off onto Garchomp. Garchomp now at -1 most likely will not be able to KO the Salamence, even with the Dragon Claw. And at -1, there's nothing Garchomp can do against that Amoonguss to KO. What? Oh, right, because it's Sword Stance. But as you see, the Rage Powder and the Draco Meteor go off, and that will most likely be the game. Draco Meteor going before Garchomp even gets a chance to move, showing that it is Choice Scarf, and it does knock out the Garchomp. So Soulsur is your winner, wins the set 2-0 pretty convincingly, and he'll move on to the winner final. So he's guaranteed a 2DS or a Wii U at this point. Well played by both players, but Soulsur showing why Mega Kangaskhan is so good, and a really solid core of Pokemon, and I think he's really got something figured out for the format.